Hey, what's going on, fellas? Six Past Junga coming to you all again with yet another video. I think it's time we all have the discussion. Now that chapter 25 is officially out, make sure you all go read the official, by the way. But now that it's out, we can finally get started on these analysis and theories I have for y'all. And it just so happens the one I have for y'all today is from the most popular topic in the Boruto community. But hey, before we dive into that, let me take a second to ask you all to leave a quick like on the video. It's not only the fastest way to let me know you rock with the videos, but it also keeps me going and motivated. But other than that, enjoy the video. So let's break this down from the start. So thinking back, I always questioned Momoshiki's role in the story, especially when Tubu Vortex just started. I just felt like his role was greatly diminished, especially since he failed to manipulate Boruto's mind. So believe it or not, he was in the same position as Code. Momoshiki is just a fan favorite, so many people decided to overlook it. But he's been taking heavy L's. He lost to Kawaki, and then when Boruto was about to die, he resuscitated him, knowing full and well that would eliminate his only opportunity to resurrect by normal means. So he failed to resurrect, and then he was so desperate, he purposely freed Kawaki from Konoha's custody so he could run away and find Ada to ensure that Boruto loses his life due to omnipotence. Then he tried to take over Boruto's body by leaving it up to Hope that he would just give up. And when he didn't give up, he literally had no other options. That was it for him. So to be honest, there's no other person he can blame but himself. So what did we really expect? Boruto hasn't used the karma in 2 or 3 years. So that really makes it difficult for Momoshiki to emerge. So essentially he's trapped. Even if he was to get out and wreak havoc, Boruto has gotten so strong mentally to where he wouldn't despair to the point where he would willingly give up his body. He even said due to his master Sasuke, he was able to gain unwavering strength, which is not physical strength he's talking about, but mental, which in some cases is even more important than physicality. So I can say for the longest time now, he gave up on trying to take Boruto's body. All he wanted was to be free. That's it. He's gotten to the point where he realized what he's doing wasn't worth all the trouble. So now, just like Code after he lost to Boruto, he lost his purpose. Now, thinking about it, the reason why both Momoshiki and Code were kind of pushed out of the story narrative-wise was because of Boruto. He defeated them not only physically in Code's case, but mentally, especially when talking about Momoshiki. So looking at him now in chapter 25, we can see just how depressed he really is. Boruto hit him with that Uno reverse card. He said that he's literally in a state of depression because time after time Boruto keeps surviving every encounter and he's destined to die. So much so that he wishes he wouldn't have interfered when Kawaki killed Boruto. At this point, without being able to resurrect through the karma or control his mind, the only thing that his soul wishes for at this point is to be free from this curse with his death. So that's really it. All those theories and hypotheticals about how Momoshiki's gonna reinstate himself back into the story, just to find out that he's defeated and mentally drained. And I see why this is all taking a toll on him. Let's say, ever since the ending of part 1 concluded, he's been wishing to be freed from Boruto. So he's been waiting on his death. Momoshiki has a clairvoyant power similar to that of Kashin Koji, so he can literally see the future. Even if it's not multiple futures and possibilities, he can still sear into the future, but he can only see still images. So maybe he's seen some instances where Boruto died, but of course he may not have seen the full thing play out. For example, let's look at all the times where Boruto came close to dying, but ended up living. And it's gonna be strictly after part 1 ended. So of course you have the first instance where JURA almost killed Boruto, but decided to retreat back to the hideout to tend to Hidari. And then the second time he was going to be killed by JURA again, but then Kawaki intervened. So now that is twice he's failed to die. And that's not even counting part 1. Maybe there was even a scenario where he was faced with a life or death situation that hasn't been shown because it happened during the time skip. So I'm pretty sure there's been times where he was supposed to die, but the timeline shifted to another outcome or something. So all that built up to this. He's lost hope of his soul ever moving on. So now let's look at the initial deal. So since Momoshiki is out of a purpose, Boruto attempts to make him of use. If you're going to be sitting here sulking, the least you can do is give Boruto power to save the planet. But in order for that to happen, the law of equal exchange must be applied here. Or at least what they both believe is to be equal exchange. Because once Boruto defeats JURA, the planet is saved, but he offered his own body to Momoshiki if that were to happen, so he loses his own life. It's the classic main character sacrifices himself to save mankind trope. We've seen it before time after time, so just by that, we can say this is about as close to an equal exchange as you can get. Now, of course, when the next chapter comes along, I believe he will accept this deal from Boruto. I think it's a great opportunity for him to get what he wanted after all this time. He took L after L, so I'm pretty sure he's going to accept this deal. So looking at it like this is how Boruto reinstated Momoshiki back into the story. He just did the same thing that JURA did for Code. He teased him with something that he desperately desires. But Boruto and JURA both put a price tag on it. Albeit they're both really difficult tasks, but it gives them something to strive for. But little did they know, because they wanted this one thing so bad, they unknowingly gave that other person control over them. And that control can, and probably will, lead to them getting betrayed or deceived, however you want to interpret it. Meaning JURA can, and probably will, decide to just kill Code and take the chakra fruit for himself if he manages to kill both Boruto and Kashinkoji. Or a little bit more relevant to the story right now, Boruto could use Momoshiki to defeat JURA, then never use the karma again, anchoring him to the world of the living for however long Boruto lives. So it's really a 50-50 chance they even get what they want even after fulfilling the promise they made. So what I'm getting at here is basically saying that looking on the outside, all this seems to be is a simple deal between two Otsutsuki. But looking into it a bit deeper, it can be a trap set up by Boruto. I reacted to this very scene on stream with you guys this past week, and I hilariously gotten slander comments talking about me not being able to read the hidden meanings that were behind this dialogue exchange. Just reacting to the chapter, having fun, not really trying to dissect every piece of content we see. I saved that for analysis videos like this. But in all reality, there's no definitive way we can know if Boruto has an ulterior motive here. It could simply be a genuine offer because he believes this is the only way to get this done. But one thing that I can say, and this is crystal clear, even from reading this the first time around, we already know Boruto isn't just giving Momoshiki his body if they manage to defeat JURA. He has a plan, and the key to this plan working was always Kawaki. You see, chapter 15 proves yet again that it wasn't just a simple exchange of words between two of the main characters. It's much deeper. I previously said that when this is all said and done, this will be the chapter we all come back to and think, wow, it all started here. And that's the truth. This conversation not only saved Boruto's life against JURA and Konohamaru's life against Matsuri, but it ended up securing Moeki's rescue, and it might actually save the planet. By Boruto indirectly strengthening Kawaki to the point where he was able to use that power as a foundation to get even stronger, he made it so there would be a person that would be capable of killing him if Momoshiki went on a rampage. So as soon as they defeat JURA, he's not giving Momoshiki his body. He's gonna tell Kawaki to kill him right then and there. Or Kawaki's just gonna kill him when he sees that Momoshiki has taken over his body again. He was even telling him that if he loses control and runs amok, then just end his life right then and there. So there will be zero hesitation on Kawaki's part, I promise you that. But whole time, that's exactly what Boruto's banking on. So that's the real meaning behind this exchange, for anyone wondering. But if you were to ask me if I think this will happen, then the answer is a hard no. I don't even think Boruto using Momoshiki's power will be enough to put JURA down once and for all. That thinking is just too surface level for me to believe. There's another curveball coming. Ikimoto is setting this up for a big change that's gonna happen sooner or later. It can either be the permanent fusion between Boruto and Momoshiki's soul, or it can be a new awakened power from Boruto to be able to either control Momoshiki in his power, or remove Momoshiki's evil soul from his forever. So yeah, this is probably a possible setup for the introduction of the Jogan, or at least the beginning stages of it being fully awoken. I'm gonna tell you the purpose of this arc right now. It's simply an arc for Boruto to gain power, a way for him to learn how to control his Otsutsuki power, or gain another power that's equal to or surpassing that power. So one way or another, he's gonna come out this deal alive and well, also a hell of a lot stronger. The story already established to us that it wants Boruto and Kawaki to work together in order to defeat JURA. That's the end goal here. However, that cannot happen unless Boruto gains more power. It's been obvious since Kawaki revealed his new limitless power against JURA. Boruto's lacking behind, and he's not only lacking in the power department, he also has another problem. He can't fight with Kawaki because of resonance. And Boruto already said that he can't beat JURA unless he gets assistance from Kawaki. However, when we look at the way Kawaki fights, like, come on, it's extremely reliant on whether he can use his karma or not. He's a karma merchant, he needs it to fight. And they're definitely not beating JURA without Kawaki using karma. So Boruto has to learn to control the karma so he can fight alongside Kawaki. Even if he still doesn't wish to use the karma in a fight because of the fear that he'll lose control, he still has to increase his control over it so it doesn't happen. So regardless of whether he uses it or not, he still needs more control over it. This arc is supposed to address that need. As I said in my chapter 25 prediction video, he needs to basically confront the problem directly. That's the only way he's gonna be free. So now he's doing it, but he's just taking a daring route. It's so daring that I think there's only two ways this whole thing can end. By Boruto dying by Kawaki, or him gaining control over his Otsutsuki power. And I think we can agree that the latter is gonna happen. Now thinking about it, since this clip exists, it might have done more harm than good for the story. Because now we know after all the events of Two Blue Vortex plays out, it'll lead to Boruto and Kawaki having a final showdown on top of the Hokage monument. And in this clip, we can very well see that Boruto has full control over his body. This is a future where JURA no longer exists and the threat of the Ten Tails is extinguished for good. So by this time, Momoshiki should have full control over his body, and instead of Boruto fighting Kawaki, it should be Momoshiki. But since it clearly isn't, something happened in between JURA's defeat and this scene, which allowed Boruto to keep his body. Also in this fight, Boruto questioned to himself, was this the only outcome? Which could insinuate that he was actively trying to avoid this outcome, but it happened anyway because of a single choice regarding a future that he will have to make. So Boruto himself chose this outcome that will eventually come into fruition. But the choices that he made to get to this outcome will most likely start around this point in the story. So for him to be able to keep his body, there will be some hardships that he will have to overcome, and possibly some very hard choices. Overall, I think this is the start for something big for Boruto. Major character development in terms of power, mentality, even spirituality. And this arc is gonna be the one where we learn all about the Otsutsuki ties that Boruto had, even before he was bestowed a karma by Momoshiki. So yeah, I guess all those Boruto is Shibai reincarnated theories is finally gonna be confirmed true or false very soon. Okay, so I think this is more or less where I'm gonna end it. With Boruto vs JURA Part 2 on the way, I want to ask you all how you feel going into this fight. Do you think Boruto has what it takes to take down JURA using the karma? Or do you think JURA's power will once again reign supreme? Or perhaps you think Momoshiki is going to be able to fight JURA himself, with full access to all of Boruto's new abilities and fighting style? Will it be enough to take down JURA? Yes or no? I plan to do a breakdown on that fight, and whether I think Boruto or JURA would win in that hypothetical matchup. There's a few ways I think that fight could turn out. Based on the ending, it leaves room for us to wonder if Boruto will be fighting JURA, or will Momoshiki be fighting JURA? And where's Kawaki in this hypothetical scenario? So there's a few optional futures that I want to talk about regarding that fight before it happens, obviously. So be sure to tune into that video when it drops. It'll definitely be worth the time. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. And if you did, go ahead and drop that like, also comment, subscribe, and turn on them post notifications so you know whenever I upload or go live for chapter spoilers. And until next time, I'll see you boys and girls later, and I'm out. Peace.